Hey there, hunting family. Welcome to another episode of Tracks and Tackle Podcast, where we celebrate everything the great outdoors has to offer. And whether you're hunting, fishing, or just exploring nature, we're glad to have you along for the ride. Today, we have an exciting guest joining us. Larry Coral from Young and Wild Outdoors is our guest. Larry runs a fantastic YouTube channel showcasing the outdoor adventures that he and his pro staff go on, much like we do here at Mentor Outdoors. He's local to Central Pennsylvania and shares the same passion for the outdoors that we do. We'll talk about the challenges and rewards of filming our hunts, editing and running a YouTube channel, and much more. Let's dive in. Hey, hunting family, what is up? It's Ron Menser with you here tonight, and we got a good one for you. We are going to bring in our guest co-host tonight. I got Chris Bookman from 3B Outdoors. Chris,
What's up,
how's it going,
guys?
brother?
So far, so good. How about you, dude?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Just living the dream, like we like
I
to
hear you.
say.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, man, really interested to bring our guest on here tonight. Let me do my best to give him an intro worthy of him. Based out of Central Pennsylvania, Young and Wild Outdoors is dedicated to preserving the traditions of hunting through the power of videography. And as passionate outdoorsmen, they aim to pass down the rich heritage of hunting to the future generations, which is right in line with what we believe, capturing the thrill of the hunt and the beauty of wilderness along the way. So I want to bring in Larry Coral from Young and Wild Outdoors. Larry, how you doing, brother?
Good. How are you guys?
Good,
Doing
brother.
awesome,
Thanks.
man.
It's awesome.
Thanks for joining us tonight. We're gonna just sort of like sit around the campfire and get to know Young and Wild. So,
Sounds
um,
good.
yeah. Tell me a little bit about how you guys got started. I know I found you on socials. You guys do a lot of stuff very similar to what we do as far as documenting and sort of encouraging, even in the intro, what that you had sent me on the bio of getting the next generation fired up about being outdoors and hunting and all that good stuff. So, why don't you just tell our audience a little bit about Young and Wild and your mission?
So yeah, Young and Wild Outdoors. We started this up about 3 years ago now. We've been filming for about four. Really, it started even before that though. As a kid, my dad and his buddies actually got into filming and stuff back whenever you had to use the tapes to put into the cameras. It was a lot more difficult back then than it is now, and it's been a passion of mine ever since I was little. Being in the outdoors, and from there, it's just kind of taken off to this point where it's something that we have a lot of fun with. And whenever we started Young and Wild, it was one of those things where we wanted to be able to capture our moments and share those moments with everybody else. And that way we can look back on those memories as years go on. So that's really why we started. And it's crazy to see how far we've come.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I've been following you guys on socials for a year or better, and it's just like anybody, another outdoor page. I'm liking your stuff or everything, but never reached out to you or anything. And here, come to find you're somewhat local to us. You're Central PA, just like we are, and that's kind of the draw for us. We want to expose our audience to other guys that are in Central PA, Pennsylvania, and because they're definitely going to like your stuff.
Yeah, it's cool. You guys are doing something that a lot of people do, but you're getting able to capture it. Being able to capture it. I'm sorry, on
Yeah.
camera. Everybody grows up hunting with their dad, uncles, grandpas, nephews, and you guys are capturing not only capturing it, but it's really high quality, well produced stuff. So
Thank you.
that's really really cool, dude.
Thank you.
So it's cool that you do this with your dad. I checking out some of your stuff. I was watching your recent trip down to West Virginia.
Yeah.
And you both were able to pull the trigger and get it done down there. And just watching you guys, you remind me of, my own family. That's the thing is, you guys are relatable.
Yeah.
You
Yep,
know, we do our
absolutely.
best to try to keep it real,
Yeah.
and you got dad on film, and he's just talking about being a better shot, and his deer didn't go as far as my deer did. I hear that stuff all
Right.
the time, and that's what I do with my
Right.
nephews too. So yeah, totally relatable. But I loved what you had said about how your dad got into filming, back in the day when it was definitely a lot more harder. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so how did that translate to you going like, I guess for me, let me rephrase this. In my household or my family unit, like my dad, he rocks a flip phone. And so I'm the tech guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're telling me your dad was, he was out there filming with the VHS. Tell me
Yeah.
about this a little bit.
So it all kind of started, I can remember way back when I was 8 years old, and we had filmed my first turkey hunt ever. First time I ever went out. And just with the luck of the draw, I ended up killing one the first time I ever went. And being able to go back and watch that and just see how excited we all were, and capturing that moment with my dad and his buddies, and one of his buddies actually are doing the whole Young and Wild thing with us as well. So it's one of those things where I think as a kid, they were my role models and I looked up to them,
Hmm.
and it was like, man, someday I want to do that too. And they never really got anywhere with it or anything, and they more or less just did it to have fun. I mean, that's pretty much what we're doing too. And but yeah, that's basically, it was because they started something when I was younger, and I just wanted to keep it going.
That's
Just
cool.
following the footsteps. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Chris.
Well, that's one thing that, as you get to know us and hang out with us, that's what we're about, is traditions, carrying on stuff. So that's really rad. And again, you guys have a really natural feel to it. It's not put on.
Yeah.
Even some of these local guys have a really great product, but you can tell it's staged, or they're, you guys are natural reactions. It's really
Yep.
cool. It's refreshing. I guess that's
Yeah.
the best way to put that.
Yep.
So tell us about your team, dude. Who else you guys have hanging out with you?
So it's actually pretty crazy. We've kind of broadened I guess the scope, you should call it. We actually have 25 team members involved up to this point. We're actually bringing on a few more guys as well. I could go through all the names and stuff, but it's been one of those things where we brought in some field staff. They've helped out. We have our actual staff members that are, behind the cameras and stuff like that too. But the big one has been, at least for this past year, has been my old man. Without him, I wouldn't be doing this.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of other staff members that have helped out tremendously too. Not just him, but pretty much without him, I wouldn't be able to do this. So,
Yeah.
and I
That's a
appreciate him
cool.
more for that than anything.
It's
No
such a
doubt.
cool. It's a cool thing too, because like I grew up. My dad was born in the '50s in the military, and we had flat tops till we were, 13. My dad was a cool dad, but he wasn't like our friend. And I don't
Yeah.
mean that disrespectful,
Yeah.
until we started hunting or fishing.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, here we go. Same as my
Yeah.
grandfather. My grandfather grew up during the Depression. For all intents and purposes, was not the nicest guy until you went hunting, and then it was
Yeah.
like, okay, now that's cool. So to be able to translate again, that's a really really cool relationship that you guys can show and document, whether it's for you or for anybody else to see. It's really cool.
Yeah, I'd say sometimes, things are just different when you're going to hunting camp.
Yeah,
You get away as a kid, we
yeah.
go back to our youth. We probably got away with a lot more at
Oh yeah,
hunting camp than you did at home, around mom and dad.
yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely cool that you do that. 25 guys is pretty good. Like if you started out with like two or three small group, like that, and you've grown to, 25 people, that's pretty good. And then so like what do you get? What does your pro staff do for you? I know you texted me last night. We were exchanging some notes, and you said you were getting some interviews and things. Um, to talk to me about your process.
So basically, we have it set up as just like our pro staff, and then our staff members, and then our field staff. The field staff guys were the ones that we were talking to last night, that potentially could become on our staff. And
Mhm.
what the field staff guys do for us is help create content. They can potentially get discount codes off of partnering companies that we're with. And basically, you know, they get free merch or they get discounts on certain things. And also the cool part about it is it's somebody else, you know, to get to know and create a relationship with and make a connection with. And all those guys have became like one of my close friends, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I've actually went out this past year and got the chance to film some of those guys too. And for them, that was a big deal. One of the field staff guys went coyote hunting and killed a couple dogs, and it was like this real big deal. Haven't posted that video yet, but it's pretty special, you know, getting to make those connections. And it's not really always about the harvest and stuff like that, but just being able to create a relationship with other people. And
that's cool.
So yeah.
3B, actually, the club that I'm in, we actually have a club within a club that I talk about sometimes where like we take people out. Like I'm big into waterfowl. I grew up just deer hunting, but I'm into waterfowl now. So if we can take you out to get your first bird, we actually give you stickers. We have this whole thing called the First Drake Hunt Club. And that's like you just said, bro, it's just as rewarding sometimes to take pictures and post that stuff. And it's rad, man. It's gnarly.
Yeah, absolutely. There was actually 2 of our field staff guys from this past year. We got them their first turkeys this year. So
heck yeah.
that was
yeah.
That was a good time.
Yeah. I always say, you know, anybody like a deer hunter, turkey hunters can hunt deer. Deer hunters can't necessarily always successfully hunt turkey.
Yeah.
You know, turkey got to be ready to die.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. So how'd your season go this year? You guys have a good season?
Yeah, it went pretty well. As a group, we killed 4 bucks, and then a couple does here and there. Now that's not including everybody.
Sure.
That's just behind the camera and stuff. In PA, it was a struggle. I will say that. I can say personally, not just in PA, but in other states too, I have a total of almost 90 days in the woods this year. And that's the most that I've ever been able to do that. But other than that, it was a pretty good year on the deer hunting side of things. Turkey season was awesome. I mean, I love turkey hunting.
Yeah.
We killed a bird in every state that we went to, and pretty much got everybody a bird that's on our pro staff. So that was awesome. One of the goals we had for this year. But it was a pretty good year. So.
It's definitely been colder. You know, I remember last year in archery season, you know, walking to my tree stand and, you know, just a tank top till I got, you know, in so I wouldn't be sweating too much. And then here, archery season wasn't too bad, but it did cool down in rifle season here in PA. And it was definitely much colder this year. And so, you know, it definitely impacts the hunt, you know, how long guys are sitting out. I don't know what the harvest numbers are. Haven't looked into any of that this year, you know, for the state, but it's like night and day from last year to this year. It feels like anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, when you guys hunt, because here's what my draw is. Part of why I reached out to you and I was really interested is, you know, because I do a little bit of self-filming. I'm certainly not set up, you know, professionally. But, you know, I've invested in, you know, the gear to do it and put out a decent product and stuff. And I want to talk to somebody else that does this, right? You know, I'm always looking for resident experts to come in and people that have a certain skill set or what I call tribal knowledge on a subject matter and stuff. And you guys are going out and you're doing some self-filming, but you're getting guys to go out and film for you as well. Talk to me a little bit about that process of filming the hunt, right? Because for me, being a guy that self-films, sometimes I got to make that decision. Yeah. Do I get to take the shot or do I get it on film? You know, sometimes you got to pass up on one or the other, right? Talk to me about your process and what that's like.
So, especially with self-filming, it's a challenge for everybody. I know personally, and with our guys, we do the best that we possibly can. Now we're running camera arms. We have cameras everywhere on the trees, attached to our stabilizers. attached to our guns, whatever it might be that you're using. But the biggest thing I would say is practice. Going out and filming just in general. As soon as a animal starts to approach whatever, you lose all that. It's just like shooting a bow.
Yeah.
It's you know, but it's one of those things where with us with self filming, the POV cameras are a huge thing for us. If it wasn't for them, it would be really tough. Now, the camera arms that we use and has made a little bit of a difference too. But the biggest thing I would say is saddle hunting. So we started saddle hunting, and that made things a lot easier. Just because you can maintain the camera in front of you at all times. Now, yes, it's super hard to, zoom in and get that perfect exact shot that you would have if you had a cameraman. But you're still able to capture the hunt just because you have more mobility than you would say than just sitting in a climber or in a lock on, because you can constantly keep you and the tree in between whatever it may be that you're trying to film. So
Yeah, like so for me, this is my setup. I'm not our one of our other co-hosts who's not with us tonight because he's actually coaching a youth archery league. So he's not available tonight when we record, but he's just got into saddle hunting last year, and he's selling me hard on it. I haven't made that decision yet, but here's my setup. Whenever I'm going in, and I am carrying more gear, like when you're filming, you're carrying more gear in. Uh, I get the benefit of saddle hunting is you're carrying less gear, I guess when you're carrying a saddle in, right? So, but I run Tacticams. Like I got one on my bow, I got one in a tree, either, on me. I've got a small zoom, Sony zoom angle, cheap, like one of these guys. And that gives me my zoom for whenever I got something coming in from a distance. And then I got a cell phone, and so like I'm running 4 cameras at every time, but usually when the moment hits, you don't always have time to react and get that footage. The other thing for me is, running Tacticams. I got those because I wanted to get that action shot. I wanted something on the stabilizer of the bow or the gun or whatever. But the battery life that on the ones that I have, which are a couple of years old and stuff, whenever it gets cold like it was in rifle season this year, man, they just did not last for me.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I struggle with personally with, you go to take the shot and then the battery's dead in my camera. So, I don't know, different types of cameras now, I guess you can get a different, have a battery pack on. And then you also have cameras that just are rechargeable, as well. So that's my setup. That's how I try to make it happen. And, that's what I use.
So one thing I've talked about that I struggle with sometimes is like I'm trying to get content, I'm trying to, send pictures, but when I'm out there, if I'm deer hunting, I eat the deer, right? So how do you balance that where you're trying to make the good shots, the ethical shots, the
Right.
necessity shot, and trying to film it? Do you guys have a struggle with that at all?
Yeah, so we have a rule of thumb. It's one of those things where the shot comes first. We make sure that we're going to make an ethical shot. And if we don't get it on camera, it's one of those things, especially when you're self-filming, you don't get it on camera. And usually, everybody that's done it understands it. It's kind of funny. We've got some comments on our YouTube channel, if you got to learn how to film and stuff like that. Well, until you've actually tried it and done it for yourself, you have no idea. So the shot for us always comes first. And footage is usually second. Now we try our best to make sure that we get everything that we possibly can. And the thing that does make it nice, I know Ron was going over there about his setup. So we run Canon G50s and Canon G70s. We have a pile of them. And they're 4K resolution, and we use those all the time. along with our tact cams, our POV cameras. And basically the thing is with those, you know, you capture the moment up until the shot, and then we use the POV camera for the shot. That's basically how we do it. That way you're at least getting the shot on film. Yeah, it
Right.
might not be the greatest quality or the best thing, you know, it's not perfect frame, but you're at least getting the shot on camera.
Okay.
So that's how we basically do it with that.
You guys ever just
Yeah.
get caught up in the moment? Here comes the buck, here comes the turkey, and you're like, "Oh crap, I didn't turn it on," or
Oh yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
We do that a
All the
lot
time,
with
I'm sure.
yeah. What the biggest thing is the mics.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Right.
So we have wireless mics that we attach to ourselves, and then we have a mic for on top of the camera. And there's times, you know, we'll do an interview before we go out, or we're just talking and we're filming, and next thing you know, you turn off the wireless mic and you forget to plug in the other mic, and then next thing you know, you don't have sound. So
Yeah. I can see that happen. And if you're doing the editing, you know, you got to be a magician sometimes to make it turn out right.
I don't know how many times we've been out. It just happened the other day where we're got the GoPro on or whatever like that set up, and we hit it backwards. We were recording the whole time except for when the dog's getting the bird, you know, and
yeah.
stuff like that, you know. And I've missed a couple opportunities with my young kids killing deer because I'm just caught up in watching them, which in one aspect is kind of cool still, but at another point I'm like, man, I should just taken 3 extra seconds to turn the camera on for it, you know, at the same
Yeah.
time. But
So a
that's
couple
life.
funny stories. You know, last year I had an awesome archery season, you know, and very successful to the point where opening day rifle, like I didn't even take my camera out with me. Like I wasn't filming. I was really just going out to be out on opening day. You know, I had tags to fill or whatever, but I wasn't worried about like capturing it. And I took a really nice deer. I wish I had the camera, right? But my nephew who was hunting with me, he took a nice deer as well, and he had the Tacticam on his rifle, and it was on all morning. Now he set up in his blind. He didn't know that he must have bumped it, and it was recording. And this nice buck comes in on him, and he turns it on. So he thinks. Well, he turned it off. So we got like 3 hours of just like pointing at the leaves on the ground of the, you know, on the blind, and then 2 seconds of a buck, and then it went dark on him. Hey there, hunting family. It's time to give a shout out to a company that's been keeping our communities moving since 1995. I'm talking about Interstate Garage Doors. For nearly 3 decades, Interstate Garage Doors has been the go-to choice for comprehensive garage door services in South Central PA, as well as the surrounding Hagerstown, Maryland, and Martinsburg, West Virginia areas. And get this, they're not just any company. They're veteran-owned and family-operated, with a proud history of serving both residential and commercial clients. Their professional technicians are the real deal, offering top-notch installations from industry-leading manufacturers and expert repairs for all garage door makes and models. From residential garage doors to overhead doors and openers, Interstate Garage Doors does it all. So whether you're a hardworking contractor building homes or a homeowner looking for service or just needing an upgrade, you can trust Interstate Garage Doors to get the job done right. And hey, they're not just experts in garage doors, they're also experts in giving back to the community, sponsoring podcasts like Tracks and Tackle. Are you ready to experience the Interstate difference for yourself? If so, here's a little something extra for our loyal podcast listeners. Use promo code Tracks and Tackle when you contact Interstate so they know you heard about them here. Just visit igdoors.com today to get an estimate or request service, or give them a call at 717-263-3150. Don't wait. Take the first step towards a smoother, more secure garage today. Here's something that I was thinking about when you were talking, Larry, about comments. You know, this is like my love-hate relationship with this industry, okay? Because I love the outdoors, just like you, sort of in our DNA, runs in our blood. But when you're in social media, everybody's a know-it-all. You know, this is something I say all the time on the show. There's always somebody out there that knows more than I do. Like I'm Mr. Humble. I know I don't know it all. I might come across like I do sometimes, but I know there's people out there that know more than I do. And that's why I like to hang out and meet people like yourself and talk with other hunters, because I'm always, nature's our classroom, right?
Yep.
But when I'm posting stuff, you're just like, hey man, I'm just trying to share and inspire, and try to get the next generation, fired up about hunting or fishing or whatever. And there's always the Facebook warden, is what I
Mhm.
call them. Somebody's got to lay out a comment that, well, you should, like you said, learn how to film, or do it this way. Um, that's a struggle. I mean, that's kind of like a kick in the pants whenever because you put a lot of effort. I'm sure you put a lot of effort when you're going through hours of film, getting the B-roll, putting it together, editing it, trying to put out a good product. And then you got, some wise guy has something nice, to say online. It's kind of like thankless job, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you get a lot of that or not. We don't get a lot of it, but I mean, when it happens, I'm like, come on. I don't know.
You get
Yeah.
it you get it for that, or you get it for because you didn't put a comma in the right place sometimes in your heading, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but you just told me you said 90 days. I mean, that's a quarter of the year you spend in the woods. That's a
Yeah.
long time,
That's a lot of days.
for someone to tell you that you messed up. You
Yeah.
know, go ahead. I'm
Right.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. So do you get a lot of that, Larry? I look at like blue collar guys like us, as most of the people that follow hunting pages and things like that, they got some know-how, and often there's more than one right way to do something, whether it's skinning your deer or dragging your deer, or cutting it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Uh, for us, I mean, we have, caught some, I guess you could call it backlash or whatever you want to call it from people. But it's one of those things where, you just keep pushing forward. And if somebody's
Right.
got something they don't like with what you're doing, then I mean, it is what it is. Uh, y- because nobody sees what goes on behind the scenes. That's the biggest thing, especially for what we're doing. The amount of time you put in, and when the opportunity finally hits, if you don't make it count, or maybe it's not the best, everybody has had that feeling at some point, whether it's in hunting or in life in general.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Uh, so not everything is always going to be perfect.
No, it's not.
Uh,
I think that goes back to the whole thing. Like I said, I think Ron will agree with you. There's a very real feel to you guys too. And that is what it is. Like you said, it's going to be good. It's
yeah,
going to be bad. You know.
Yeah, I'll add to that, Chris. Open day archery. I took a shot on a. I wasn't even going to shoot. I told my nephew that I was hunting with. I said, I'm just happy to be out, sit in a tree stand. It was a beautiful day. It was still warm, nice breeze. I'm like, I don't even know if I'd shoot something if it walked out in front of me. Well, I had three doe walk out in front of me, and so I took a shot on one, and I hit it. I hit it far back. It wasn't a great shot. Now I'm using rage broadheads, and it made the difference. The deer ran like 75 yards, and I recovered it. But you know, you got to weigh. Do you put that out there? For me, I'm
yeah,
thinking about, all right, because we want to keep it real. We want to be as real as possible. And so, we put our a video together, and documented that. And there it is, deer with a shot that's not a perfect shot. I was hunting later that year. This has all happened this year, and I had like legitimately, I thought was a perfect shot on a little basket rack buck. Um, but that deer, it hit the shoulder blade and didn't penetrate, and the deer ran off with my arrow in it. And that deer we did not recover, right? Which is like every hunter, every archer's, you know, it's the worst thing that can happen to you if you're out there hunting is, you hit a deer or you injure a deer and you don't recover it. And then you gotta, do I use that? Like there's the ethics in the hunt is one thing, making sure, I like what you said, the shot comes first, shot placement, that sort of stuff. But, in the effort to keep it real and be real, like this happens. And so we have to make those decisions of, do we put that content out or not? And I'm just interested in your take on that sort of approach, because for me, that's what I did. Like, I know it's probably not the most popular thing to put a video out where the deer got away, but it happens, and it happens to every single one of us if you've been hunting long enough. None of us are perfect 100% of the time. So thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. And it's one of those things where with what we try to put out there, we try to be, I've always said hunting is like the best reality TV show that you could ever possibly be in. And the thing is with posting that content, especially with what we're trying to do, we're trying to show our viewers and our people that engage with us constantly and they're following along from the very beginning. And even if they're just jumping in now, try to show them. And that's why we always say, this is what it's all about.
Mhm.
That's one of our things that we say all the time. Obviously, not everything is going to be perfect. Not everything is going to go right. And, you have to make the most of it. But what you were saying there about should I post it or shouldn't I post it? Back whenever we first started, we had some of those things too. And from going to shows and being in outdoor shows and getting to meet a lot of people, the number one thing I hear is people always say, like, we can relate to you.
Yeah.
And, we're not out here shooting 170-inch deer every time we turn on the camera. And we're not, it might not be the greatest shot in the world. I know the buck that I had shot in West Virginia this year, it was quartering away a little bit. And at the time of the shot, I thought it was, perfectly broadside. Turns out that it wasn't a terrible shot, but I could have made a better one. And in that video, I explained, it happens to everybody.
Right.
And it's one of those things where I think when people can relate to you and they understand where you're coming from, that's a big thing. Now, obviously, you have those guys that are like, oh, learn how to shoot, man, but
Right. You're gonna have. I got that in my own family, right?
yeah.
Cut
Oh,
your
I mean,
shirt.
I
Yeah.
do too, yeah. But
Yeah. So we always got that, So it's just an interesting thing because there's hunting and then there's the production of filming your hunt. And I sort of fell into it, honestly. Antler restrictions, hit Pennsylvania. Cell phones started getting a little bit better. I've been going back a few years. I'm dating myself, right? But got to the point where you have a little buck walking in on you, and well, I can't shoot it because it's not got enough antlers, but I can sit here and I can film it. And that's sort of how I fell into it. And I thought, man, this is pretty cool. If I could, it's not that hard, is what I'm thinking. When you got a young buck, because a young buck will walk in under your stand a lot faster than a mature buck will. But that's sort of how I got into it. And something just clicked for me. Like, well, if I can do this and I can capture the shot itself, I could have some fun and we can make some family members. Because I know it's a big important thing for Chris, and with 3B Outdoors, it's all about tradition, it's all about family, it's all about making the memories. That's what it's all about for us,
yeah.
right? And we try to capture those memories. We write them down in our hunting camp. We journal, we log everything. But that's sort of shifted to taking pictures and posting them online, and everything's kind of went digital. And that's why we do what we do, So talk to me about your editing process. So you got guys that are out there helping you get content,
Yeah.
right?
Yep,
And then does that all funnel into you, or you got other guys on your team that do this for you? Because that's the way it is with me. Like, guys are our guys send me their photos or their videos or whatever, and then when I get around to it, because I my day job's my day job, I'll try to
Yeah.
edit and get these film, put something out on socials.
Yeah. Yeah. So the editing for now is all on me. And how we work that is obviously with SD cards. And it's one of those things, if one of our members, collect footage, they get the SD card to me, and then I take care of all that. Now I have external hard drives that are full. I
Right.
mean, full of a lot of footage that nobody ever sees.
Hmm.
And it's one of those things wherever I couldn't tell you how many hours exactly going through film, especially throughout the season that I have. But it's crazy. So what I do is we'll put all that on external hard drives, and then based off of, whatever video I'm making, whether it's an archery video from West Virginia or Maryland or Pennsylvania or wherever we may be at, I'll sit there and go through all the Maryland and West Virginia stuff and Pennsylvania, whatever. And then from there, put it into folders. I try to organize everything that I possibly can, just, the days, even the different sits. So we might have 4 guys out, and I'll organize everybody's hunts. So it takes a lot of time, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how I organize everything. And then the editing system that we use is Filmora X Pro. I messed around with Adobe Premiere before as well. Now, Filmora was actually what I had used whenever I started, and learned that, and got to know the system and the software a lot better. So that's why we continue to use that.
I use Filmora as well, so it's a good
Gotcha.
product.
Yeah.
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 It's worth a few dollars to use it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
What's the hardest part about you guys? And I struggle with this too a lot. I think Ron does too. Like keeping your people engaged with your content. Does that go into your editing and all that stuff as well? I mean, you're trying to.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that I've always, since I've been doing this for the past, well, it'll be 4 years. 3 years is what we've been posting, but since 4 years, is trying to create something that captures somebody's attention, basically. And then from there, try to show, people having fun and showing that it is a good time, with friends and family. And it's not always just about going out and harvesting an animal. So with that, basically what I try to do is I try to tell a story.
Yep.
And that is the biggest thing, and I would say the hardest thing to do, especially whenever you might not have the amount of footage that you need, or you might not have really any story that goes along with it. My dad and I went to West Virginia, and we were there for 20 minutes, and I ended up harvesting a doe within the first 20 minutes we were there. So then it's kind of like, what do you do from there? And when you're trying to be as realistic and be able to relate to everybody else, you film other things such as, goofing around and,
Yeah.
having fun, basically, is what we try to do. So on that side of things, in order to keep people engaged, it's about showing, having a good time, trying to relate to other people as well.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah.
makes sense. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Chris. Sorry.
Do you have any struggles with social media? For instance, for like 3B when we first started, I was getting hundreds of likes on all my posts, and then the last 2 or 3 years, I'm not posting different stuff, but it is just nosedived.
Yeah. So the hardest part about it is figuring out the algorithm.
Yeah.
I know personally, I take care of all of that for us. So it is kind of a struggle at times. But the more content that you can put out there and post every single day, the better off you are. Posting early in the morning is good because that's when people usually get up and they're getting on their phones and they're looking at their phone. And then in the evening around 6:30, 7:00, when people are finished, with dinner or whatever it may be, people were on their socials then. And the biggest thing is just consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency is key. And just posting every single day to keep people engaged.
Good points. Those are good points.
I think there's probably a lot of guys out there that, try their hand at what we're doing, but they don't like that consistency. Like people give up, and I think you almost got to just like dig your heels in and continue to move forward. I know they said with podcasting, you got to get like 100 episodes in under your belt until you really find your rhythm, and we started this last spring, last summer. So we're 60 some episodes in, and we're still figuring it out, right? We're still, but not every episode's the same, not every guest is the same, but we're starting to hit a rhythm in how we're doing it. And I think it's just like you got to keep moving forward, like you said, Larry.
Yeah, you got to keep your focus too. Like, I'm not saying this to brag at all, but like, I've had people now come up to me because I get frustrated like anybody else does. Like you just said earlier, dude, you spent 90 days hunting. You guys had a hard season, life work balance, right? That's hard. Am I going to post stuff? I'm not getting the engagement that I like. But then I've had other people recognize my logo or my sticker. And again, I'm not bragging at all. I'm just, my point of this is keep pressing on.
It's a great feeling, though.
And then people would be like, hey, you're that guy. Hey, I know you from this. Hey, I heard you on this podcast. Hey, I saw your video from West Virginia. Whether or not you got the engagement, you are reaching people. So don't quit. I mean, I don't think you're going to quit, but anybody else that's listening to this, I mean, keep pressing on to do it. And you're making a difference, if that makes sense.
Are you guys, you said you go out and you hit some shows. Do you guys going to hit the outdoor show this year?
Yeah. So we will be in the outdoor show with Heated Hunts, up at the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg. So
I'll have to catch you, man, because it's like 20 minutes from where I'm at. So
sweet.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah, awesome. So I'll text you when I'm there or what day I'm going down or whatever. I'll try to locate you and when we can catch up in person, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome for sure.
You mentioned turkey hunting, dude. What's your favorite? What's your favorite thing to go after?
Personally, mine's turkey hunting. I love it. I mean, I think it's just, I don't know. For me, I caught love for it when I was super young, and it stayed with me.
I'm going to drop a bomb right here. I've never killed a turkey.
Really?
Nope. I've been turkey hunting twice. I'm not going to say how old me and Ron are, but like where I grew up, kid in the 90s in Maryland, there wasn't turkeys where I lived. It's actually a really big, if I can find some articles, I'll send you, but in like central and north central Maryland, like NWTF and some of the local places did a really tremendous job of putting turkeys back in. So like there just wasn't any around. I remember a couple times deer hunting and I'm like, what is this dinosaur bird walking through the woods here, and getting
make a lot of noise.
Yeah, I'm like, holy crap, there's a turkey in the woods. Like I get pumped still. So because of just some other endeavors, I've done it twice. I've never killed a turkey. They're on my property. And I say every year I'm going to go do it, but I've never.
Chris, we're going to get you on a bird this year, man.
Okay. I don't need any more addictions. Okay. Waterfowl took me over. I didn't believe anybody that I grew up deer hunting and everyone said, oh, once you get into this, you're not going to think about deer. I said, yeah, right. No, it's my jam. So I don't know if I need another one, but do you guys locally turkey hunt around your house, or you guys travel for that a lot, or what's the deal with that?
Yeah, locally, and then we hunt out of state a lot too. So
okay, cool. What's your longest beard you got?
Longest beard I got is 10.5.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 10.5 inches. So
be happy with that.
Have you ever archery hunted for those at all, or just?
Yeah, I've actually killed 3 now with the bow. So yeah. Cool.
Yeah, we got some turkey nuts that come on the show. Actually, one of the guys that's on, pretty regular. He's a salesman for one of our sponsors, and he comes on every year. We talk in turkey, and so he was showing me some, because he'll go out and he'll just capture on a cell phone, the different stuff that he's doing. So he's successful, and he takes his girls out. He's got, young kids still in school age, and they're successful, and they're all killing more birds than what I have. So Chris, they would put you to shame, no doubt.
I have to get you guys in touch with another good friend of ours. Has a podcast called Mountain and Marsh, Mike. He had one of his episodes a year or two ago was a guy started a chapter up around you guys between Gettysburg and that is really taking over. Just a cool guy. And I can't remember his name now that we're talking about, but I'll send you guys a text or a message about that stuff. Really cool, interesting guy starting some new stuff in that area. So.
Right on. So Larry, if you had if you wanted to give a point of wisdom to somebody. We got somebody in our audience that's wants to get started. They want to, produce some content. They want to, start a YouTube channel. Or, I mean, my question is going to be like, what advice would you give them? But I guess let me preface that with, I found you guys. I've been following you guys on Instagram, and then caught your YouTube channel based on that. Where do you put most of your energy into? Is it YouTube, or is it your TikTok, or how do you guys roll?
So the biggest thing is obviously content wise. So like Instagram and Facebook and TikTok are a lot easier to create content compared to YouTube.
Yep.
Now YouTube Shorts, since that has become a thing, we were just talking about it the other night. That's one thing that we need to do a lot more of. We'll create a bunch of Instagram reels and put them onto Facebook and move them to TikTok as well. But I would say the biggest thing is focusing on that social media platform, whatever it is, whether it be Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and really pushing not only just on one platform, but pushing on all those platforms as much as you can. And then that translates over to YouTube, because most people don't get on YouTube and just scroll down through, looking at what people are doing. They're looking for something specific. Every once in a while
Usually.
they get on and it's like, oh, what's this? But everybody's scrolling through Facebook, everybody's scrolling through Instagram, TikTok on a daily basis. So hitting those social medias and then trying to push that audience to your YouTube is really key. So, and for somebody starting out, Ron, you're asking me about giving advice. The biggest thing is, depending on where you want to go with it, is don't quit. And I know that, Chris was saying about that earlier. Once you start it, it's tough, like super tough. I couldn't even count every day that I've said, on my fingers that, okay, I'm done with this,
It's
like this is gonna
frustrating
be a lot.
sometimes.
It gets frustrating, and it's one of those things where, especially with, the whole filming side of things, not just creating a page and just posting pictures, but on the filming side of things, it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, to capture footage in general, and for somebody starting out, the biggest thing is you don't have to go out and spend a ton of money right away. Learn how to use those cameras and get good with them, and then from there move on. And it's the same thing with editing too. I was self-taught. I self-taught myself, and over the past couple of years, I've gotten a lot better at it. And I've got to meet some guys that edit for people that filmed for the Outdoor Channel and stuff like that. Just taking tips and making connections with other people, that's a big thing too. So I guess the biggest thing out of that with where I'm going is, if you're going to start, start it and keep going. Because if you stop, it's one of those things where, why just start in the first place,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's all good advice. It's all really great advice. It's like you got to continue to push forward and, like you say, not give up. So for me, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about, the guy that wants to get started and go out and do that sort of thing. You almost got to choose your venue.
Yeah.
Trying to do it everywhere and spread yourself, across, like, get really good with something at first is what you said. And I think that's solid advice without a doubt. I know you guys are a lot more than just, filming and the videography piece. That's what I wanted to get you to come on and talk about today, for this episode. But, certainly you guys have similar passions to us. We feel like it's very, what I would call the near neighbor in the industry, and locale. Your near neighbor. just hunting in central Pennsylvania like we do. So yeah, just wanted to sort of make space for you to come in here tonight, share your craft a little bit, and introduce you to our audience so that they can connect with some of your content as well. Where can folks find you, Larry? Is your handle the same on all your socials?
Yeah, yep. Young and Wild Outdoors on all of our socials: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. We're on Threads too. That's a new thing for everybody. So that's
What do you
one of the.
you think about Threads? I haven't gone there. I think Chris is there. I'm still a Twitter guy. But I don't know. I'm on the fence. Like I can probably be talked into it.
Yeah, I haven't messed around with it a lot. I mean, we have a page, but I don't post really anything into it yet.
I haven't messed with it. I have it just linked to my Instagram, so it'll post there.
Yeah,
And it says I have a couple hundred followers. I don't get interactions on it, but I mean, it was one of those things where I might as well just tie it together.
Right.
You know, it just links. You can just link it to your Instagram.
So for me, I like that interaction, right? Like I like the
Yeah.
comments. I like the, Chris posts something and I'm going to comment on his picture, or you get people that you don't like. We meet people that way,
Yeah.
people in the industry with the same likes and interests as us, so.
The weird thing about it, I don't think you can post long. I guess it's similar to Twitter. I don't have a Twitter, but or X, whatever it's called now. You can't post like long videos or like long worded.
Yeah. There's like a character limit.
Yeah.
Which I like that because then you don't. Yeah, I mean, some people got diarrhea of the mouth on
I
the
see
keyboard.
something's keep scrolling. I scroll down to read more. I'm just gonna keep going most of the time.
Yeah, I only read the first one or two lines anyway. If you're going to post War and Peace on me, but
yeah. Let me
very
ask you
cool.
a question, Larry, real quick before we go. I ask this to everybody that's on here, just a goofy thing. What's something that you carry with you no matter where you go? Snack, something lucky.
Yeah, what's in your bag?
So the biggest, my pet peeve, I'm very superstitious.
Awesome. Okay.
So a Snickers bar. Anytime I carry a Snickers bar, it's going to be a good day.
Okay.
So
I'm convinced that's why I haven't killed a lot of ducks this year, because I started like keto and carnivore diet. I don't eat Pop-Tarts and drink Monsters anymore. And I haven't killed that many. And I think the dog is mad at me too, because my buddy's dog I was always shared blueberry Pop-Tarts with. And so she doesn't come up to me that much anymore. But no, I always like to ask that. That's cool, man. Tell us about your brand real quick. You guys have merch and stickers and that kind of stuff too?
Yeah, we got hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, stickers for on bows, stickers for on the back of, the windows and stuff like that. We got a little bit of everything. So
cool. That's all through your social media. You guys have a website?
That's all through our social media. Yeah,
awesome.
All through our social media.
Awesome.
Let me throw it up there again, guys. So if you're watching, it's at Young and Wild Outdoors. We'll link to you guys obviously in the description of the video when it posts. But yeah, certainly we want to drive traffic to you guys, get you exposed to our audience, and hopefully we can get you to come back on and we can shoot the bull, maybe in turkey season after you got a few long beards under the belt.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it'd be awesome.
Yep, very good. Well, Larry, a couple weeks we'll catch up with you at the Sportsman Show for sure. And any final words you'd want to share with the audience before we wrap it?
Just keep after it. This is what it's all about right here. Getting to connect with other people and having a good time out in the outdoors and spending it with family and friends, because that's what this whole entire thing is all about, everybody. So, and I appreciate you guys for having me, and
anytime, man.
Back on, man. So
awesome, dude. Stay in touch, buddy, for sure.
Absolutely, we'll do.
All right, well, hang on a little bit. We'll wrap this up, audience. Appreciate you guys tuning in. You can find us anywhere you find your podcasts. Certainly check out 3B Outdoors Club for all Chris's very interesting and entertaining content. And you can also find us either at Tracks and Tackle or Menser Outdoors. online, guys. Appreciate you all for taking the time out to listen to us today. Drop a comment, give us some feedback, and remember, always stay wild, folks.
See you guys.